There are reasons why people would speculate that Killjoys takes place in the same universe as Dark Matter. There's a lot of fans of both shows. There are certainly fans of one show and not the other, but there are a lot of fans of both shows. The fact that both shows refer to light speed as FTL is huge to me, faster than light, because that's a very specific way of saying it, and both shows do it. You have the Killjoys who are working to bring in people who have warrants and quickly realize the people that are putting out these warrants, the people they're working for, probably not the wonderful people that you'd want to be helping out. So now that we're into season 2, there's sort of a debate about what they're going to work for and the company and what the company's plans are. Dark Matter, you have different corporations who are fighting for control over trade and money and power and all that other stuff. There's a similar storyline between the two. Dark Matter's more wide and spread out. Killjoys has the quad, 4 planets. Dark Matter, Earth. I don't think Earth's been mentioned in Killjoys. Not to my knowledge, anyways. And I don't think it needs to be. But there's definitely room there for both of them to exist in the same universe. So, I posted a video this morning talking about how Dark Matter is this great show. So why would Killjoys be second? Killjoys ends up second because there's a lot of stuff at play here where they're trying to create this ultimate villain. And Dark Matter really hasn't done that. Dark Matter focuses more on the interpersonal conflicts than this giant ultimate villain. There's an ultimate storyline out there. There's a big galactic battle coming, but Killjoys ramps it up. So season 1, you have Klein. Klein's the ultimate bad guy. Dutch wants to kill Klein, somebody who did something to her when she was a kid, and he's controlling her mind. He's in her mind somehow, and she's trying to get him out of there, and she wants to kill him so bad. There's hints of this level 6. There's different levels of Killjoys, levels 1 through 5, and then there's a hint. There are rumors of a level 6 of a super Killjoy, super humans Killjoys, basically. And at the end of season 6, you really get into that. And Davin, who is a member of the crew on the Lucy, with Dutch and Johnny, he gets kidnapped and he gets kind of turned into a level 6. And there's this green goo that comes out of caterpillars. they're these green goo caterpillars that look like angry vaginas, and they say it on the show, and it's like they're reaching at this point, because when they got into these weird caterpillar things, and you see Davin kind of controlling it, kind of like, oh, I can make this thing move, and it's like, wait, what? What is going on here? Why is there some caterpillar things that devour humans, but the green goo in them gets mined to put into level 6s, and like, from what I can tell, everybody's a level 6 now in the show. It just seems like, I mean, I know Johnny isn't, Potter wasn't, and Dutch, but like, it just seems like it's this giant conspiracy that wasn't really brought up during season 1. It just seems like it's tacked on, and now there's villains greater than Klein. Now they can save this. They can save this. I think where it's going is, I think Klein is evil, but I think they're going to fight the greater evil, which is the one that Klein's afraid of, which is whatever is above these level 6s and controlling the level 6s. And we're going to find out more about Klein and Dutch and that whole relationship and the weirdness of it. And it is strange. Very, very strange. But I like Klein as the big bad. I appreciated him more. This year, I don't get it. There have been episodes I've missed this year. Couple. Because either A, I would forget it was on, or B, it would start, I'd change the channel and forget to go back. That doesn't happen with Dark Matter. But it's usually a matter of me going, well, why is this happening? And then I tune out. Now, I'm going to say this. They've killed off 2 characters in the last 2 weeks, either 2 or 3. They were 2 characters that I really, really, really liked. The Potter-Johnny relationship I thought was fantastic, and I thought it was played perfectly. So when he finally kissed her, it's the first time ever watching anything romantic at all that I've gone, yes, and cheered, yeah, finally. And I don't have a romantic bone in my body. There's no romantic movies in any of my collection. I've got hundreds of DVDs. Not one of them is a romance movie at all. So for me to cheer that he finally planted one on her was awesome. But right away I started thinking, God, they're going to kill her. They're going to kill her off. And I thought it's going to be something stupid. And then I was right. And I didn't want to be right. The way they killed her off was stupid. And it was unnecessary. Unnecessary. She had signed away control over anything. She'd basically given up everything to be with Johnny and just given up. So the corporation didn't really need to kill her? Didn't make any sense? Unless the actress that plays Potter has something else to do, which is what I found out with the one that played Sabine, who got killed off 2 weeks earlier. And again, and I'll say this with Potter, I wasn't a huge fan of hers at first, but she grew into such a fantastic character over a full season. And she grew into kind of being an integral part of the show, and she was kind of a foil for Dutch. And there was sort of a fight within Johnny over is he a killjoy or is he in love with Potter? Because those two things conflicted with each other. And in the end, he's a killjoy. And is that what got Potter killed? Not really. But, you know, he's going to blame himself, and there's going to be a lot of angst for Johnny in that. I love Aaron Ashmore. I've always wondered about this. Shawn Ashmore plays Iceman and X-Men, and he has a bunch of big movie roles. Aaron Ashmore was Jimmy Olsen on Smallville, and now he's Johnny on Killjoys. He's had the lesser roles, even though they're twins. And, I mean, identical. They sound the same. They look the same. I don't see a difference. If I see a show with Shawn Ashmore or Aaron Ashmore, I don't know which one it is until the credits. Until I see their name in the credits, I don't know which one it is. To me, they're exactly the same. So I'm not sure why Shawn Ashmore gets the better roles than Aaron. Although, Shawn Ashmore, which will confuse people, is going to be on the new show called Conviction, which stars Haley Atwell, who was Agent Carter from Captain America. And she had her own show, and it didn't work out. So they'd already started filming Conviction before Agent Carter had its episodes burned off. Shawn Ashmore will be in that. And again, I was watching a preview for it, and I'm like, wait, Aaron Ashmore's in that? Are they killing off Johnny? And then I see starring Shawn Ashmore, and I'm like, oh, thank God they're not killing off Johnny. But it looks and sounds exactly the same. Like, you can look at a set of twins, and usually you can go, okay, I know which one that is. I don't know with the Ashmores at all. They may be clones. This may become a Killjoys angle where they're actually kind of surprised by this. To my knowledge, they've never both starred in a show together. There's never been a time where Aaron or Shawn has been like, hey, bring my brother in and we'll play a clones angle, because they look identical. It would be perfect. Like I said, those are identical twins, but I don't see a difference between these two guys at all. Usually with identical twins, once they reach their 20s, 30s, you can usually see some difference in their mannerisms or the way they talk, their voices, whatever, there's a difference. These guys, there's nothing. Clones. They're clones. But I digress. This season, to me, they've forced too many people into bed with each other. When it was Davin and Dutch, it was understandable. You knew it was doomed, but it was understandable. Now they're friends. She slept with the monk guy, the religious dude. I'm like, that's odd. And now they're hinting that maybe she's in love with Johnny. So they're hinting at that, and I'm like, what? No. It was bad enough that Potter had a relationship with Davin, who's Johnny's brother, and then ended up with Johnny. That was already weird enough. I mean, they did it in such a gradual manner that it was okay, but it was still a little icky. And, with Dutch, I know she's slept with a lot of people. This show is definitely very liberal in terms of who slept with who, but it sort of undermines her character a little bit if she can't separate her job from the personal. And it just seems like everybody related to her work, except the gay guy who runs the bar, they're all they're all guys that, she's willing to take to bed at any point in time. And you know, not that that makes her a weak person, it doesn't, but it's just a little off-putting sometimes. And I enjoy Dutch. Um, I do. I very much so. Um, the actress who plays her is fantastic, and she's legit badass. I would love to see a fight between Dutch and two off Dark Matter. I think it would be a fantastic fight. Go on for the whole hour. Be awesome. Just have a scene just where two doors open. You don't know where they are, if they're on the Raza, if Lucy's there, wherever. And they just come face to face and they just start fighting. And the whole hour is just the two of them fighting. It could be like an old Dragon Ball episode. But it's it's a shame with Killjoys that they took Potter out, because her relationship with Johnny wasn't finished. There was a lot of stuff left there to flesh out. There was a lot of stuff. Potter could have brought out a lot of tension between Johnny and Dutch, and potentially Johnny and Davin as well. When they killed off Sabine, I'm like, wait a minute. No, Sabine was showing depth, and she was a level 6. Now, the way that Sabine was killed off, I do that in quotes because it's science fiction. Nobody's ever truly killed off in science fiction. The way that she's killed off is a way that leaves it open. There's no guarantee that she's dead. Yes, Dutch shot her in the head. That should kill her. But if she's level 6, it may cause her to go into a rest state where she's not registering a pulse, but whatever that green goo is that's in her brain is regenerating and putting everything back together. And I don't like the green goo thing in the brain. I don't. I think it's terrible. I think the idea of level 6s being, you know, remorseless monsters is fine. But it just seems like the green goo thing is weird. It's in their bones, and it's what? Like, and the Sabine angle again, it just didn't feel like they fleshed that out so much. This might be part of having a 10 episode season instead of 13. She was able to sense 6s. She knew when she was in danger. So I mean, you have a 6 coming up behind her ready to stab her in the back of the neck, and she kills him, beheads him, and then stands there covered in blood and goes, "I'm sorry." And she seems genuinely upset that she did this, but it's instinct. That 6 instinct, that self-preservation instinct takes over. They didn't really flesh that out with her. And the funny thing to me was, what caused her to lose her 6 ability was having sex with Davin, right? So that caused her to lose some power, and, she became a conscious, normal person for a while, and that 6 green goo started building up again. The funny thing was, towards the end, she says to Devin basically, well, it was sex that made me normal. We could try it again. And he's like, oh, I might kill you. And I'm thinking, really? You guys can't figure out anything in between? You you guys can't figure out a way to balance it? Like, the actress playing Sabine, Tori Anderson, has her own show coming on, which debuts in October. And it looks like a relatively good show. And I'll watch it because, I like her. She's gorgeous. But all I could think was, does he have to go all the way? Can he somehow control how excited she gets so that some of that green goo is released? Like, at least try something, because in the end she was dead anyways. So try something. The funny part was then he lets her go and he's like, well, I thought she had the right to fight to live. And I'm thinking, Davin, you moron. She's already told you. Once that takes over her brain again, she'll come back and kill you. Like, she already told you everybody's dead if she gets her power back. So, what are you doing? Like, you're killing her. Well, it'd be like having a dog that has something wrong with them. And in Davin's case, he may have some medicine that may fix the problem, for lack of a better way of putting it. And instead, he decides to release a dog into a cage full of wolves. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, because Dutch had to go after her, and obviously Dutch was going to kill her. It's not like, Sabine was going to kill Dutch. but it's a shame because to me, Sabine was a character that they didn't fully flesh out. It's like she comes in, she hits on Davin. They have a pretty graphic for television sex scene between the two of them. Um, I remember saying too, "Wow, she's a good sport." Usually, for me, if there's nudity on TV, and to me, an actress who's willing to do that kind of thing, that's being a good sport. And Tori Anderson is. It's not like she's unattractive, and it was funny because it was a scene that kind of came out of nowhere, and then it ended violently with the green goo part happening. At first, I thought it was that Davin's level 6 capability had killed her. I thought, wow, so if he sleeps with somebody, they die. But it turned out because she was a level 6 as well, and for whatever reason, who made this? Who made this goo situation? Because somebody somewhere had to say, if they get really excited, this goo kind of like falls out all over the place. Oh, I'm sure they won't want to have sex anymore. Really? Because it seems like something people want to do every now and then. So again, there's things that happen in this show that I look at and I go, that's not very well planned out. And it's both in terms of the payoff and character motivations, and I'm not gonna say consistency. Like Johnny's been the emotional one the whole way along. Davin's been the more violent of the two brothers, and Dutch is just crazy half the time. But in terms of the show's overall narrative, it just seems kind of all over the place sometimes. Like you'll have this religious sort of thing with the monks, and then it doesn't really go anywhere. And then you have like they're trying to save Old Town, but most of Old Town dies. But oh well, that's fine because they'll go back to Old Town in another episode, and then like all these other people have apparently moved in because I thought it was dead, but I wouldn't move to Old Town. That's the last place I'd move, based on the name and based on the fact that if you live there, you're probably gonna die. There were like Potter. There's the one scene there where Potter talks people into running at this force field around the city, knowing that they're going to die when they hit it, and that eventually, if enough people hit it, it overloads that force field and the wall drops. It's a powerful scene. Honestly, it's something because they show like kids running at it. Like this show kills kids, which is way off the radar for most science fiction shows. But then they take that moment, that powerful moment, and they kind of drown it with Potter Johnny stuff right after. And then, you know, Potter's death happens and all of that is kind of pushed off to the side. I hope that gets revisited by the end of the year. I hope there's some comeuppance and something good happens for Old Town. Like I said, I don't know why anybody would want to live there. I wouldn't want to live there. Life expectancy is about 25 years old. It's about what you got. So it's a show I really enjoy. I'm gonna watch it. Hopefully, it gets a season 3. The ratings on both Dark Matter and Killjoys have been down this year compared to season 1. I think if Space gets the ratings, and if they can work something out with Netflix for both shows, they're both shows that are very binge worthy on Netflix, then season 3 should happen. But it's touch and go. Science fiction shows, it's very touch and go. You can never tell what's going to get knocked off and what's going to get picked up. Ratings don't always tell the whole story. So, anyways, if I would highly recommend both shows. Killjoys has its moments, but I would highly recommend both shows.